Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Season 2 premiere of Destiny of the Force, an FFG Star Wars RPG campaign run by myself. I'm Matt, also known as Galvanitro, and I'm here playing with an amazing group of players: Gareth, Jessica, Jonathan, Matthew, Preston, and Valerie. You're tuning in for the first time, don't fear. Everyone and everything will be introduced for new audiences, although we do have all of Season 1 up on YouTube if you'd like to catch up on kind of the earlier adventures for yourselves. So this is set 80 years after Return of the Jedi in the expanded universe, also known as Legends, version of Star Wars. The galaxy has been enjoying decades of peace since being united by the Jedi Queen Allana Jo Solo against the Dark Goddess Abeloth. Although she and the Jedi Grandmaster Luke Skywalker have disappeared from the galaxy, their legacy continues through the new generation of the Jedi Order. Although most of this game will be played from the point of view of the PCs, there will occasionally be cutscenes featuring only NPCs to show other perspectives on the current storylines or as teasers of what is to come. In Season 1, we were introduced to this new generation and their friends following their adventures across the galaxy, big and small, personal storylines, big storylines, as they fought and followed after the ex-Imperial extremist named Jack Saren, who intended to depower the Jedi, removing their connection from the Force in order to, as he put it, balance the scale between the Jedi and the people of the galaxy. Despite the efforts of the PCs, he did succeed in activating an anti-force resonance weapon over the Jedi core world of Ossus, depowering many of the trainees and knights on the world, and even two of the heroes themselves, the Jedi Queen's daughters and Hapen princesses Sidani Jo and Venata Solo. However, uniting together, our heroes managed to stop the weapon before it was finished, saving the rest of Ossus and stopping the weapon from being used against Jedi worlds across the galaxy. While escaping the self-destructing weapon, friends of the Jedi were killed along with Saren and his people, the Mandalorians Delani Fade and Kata Sordo, as well as the Imperial Prince Young Fel, were lost to the brilliant blue and green flash of light as the rest of our heroes barely managed to crash to the planet in escape. In the face of these diminished numbers of Jedi, and due to the efforts of our heroes in saving Ossus and Jedi outposts across the galaxies from the threat, our heroes were knighted, becoming fully fledged Jedi. Now, over 6 months since defeating Saren, our heroes are continuing to grow and face challenges across the galaxy, split across different adventures as we begin today. Our heroes have already rolled their Destiny dice and taken care of a few crafting rolls that they needed to make before things began. And with that, we will descend from the stars, fading into the world of Aethys, a rocky and ruined planet in the outer rim, steam rising from the ground as rain makes contact with the warm desert-like fields and sparse trees. Canyons rise with statues long decayed and tombs well raided from scavengers. We see a gleaming silver starship known as the Jade Shadow find a resting place amidst the clearing of a few trees and ruptured metal that was once a landing pad. Now it just barely contains the encroaching wilderness from overwhelming it. As the ramp descends from the ship, billowing steam from the surface crosses it, while a few people disembark. At the top of the ramp, the familiar sight of the silver and blue astromech droid R2-D2 beeps and whirs a cautious farewell as Jedi Knight Sol Skywalker and Grumblock descend onto the ruptured metal, followed by Sol's apprentice Rey Dameron and her orange, black, and white droid R8B8, fondly called Scorch. While training on Ossus, Rey was faced with a startling vision of a dark but exposed chamber where a crimson armored man wielding a shining gauntlet crackling with power, and could just vaguely hear the name of the world Aethys called in her mind. Sharing this with Sol, they have ventured off to this world to see what they can find out. As she walks forward with long brunette hair thickly braided and semi-tied back, she has on her back a long staff and rifle, and a newly forged lightsaber at the side of her mostly white and cloth-wrapped Jedi athletic gear. As she reaches the bottom of the ramp with her Jedi teacher, she speaks out, "This is definitely the place." Her master, the recently knighted Sol, elder son of Ben Skywalker and grandson to Luke, is the first to reach the rocky edge of the former landing site.
Sol, he basically has laminate and Duracell pieces that are white with the traditional brown cloak over it, and has a sandy blonde kind of brown hair. Now that he's getting older, you can see more of he has his grandfather's sort of dent in his chin, not as noticeable, but starting to come in a little bit. So he's not as baby-faced as he was even a year ago. And he's carrying a helmet where his armor is now sealable that has a energy shield that covers the face, so it's not completely encompassing. And he turns to Grumblock and, "So, was the ship comfortable after after all? I know it's a tight fit, even with how big it is."
A few rocks shake and pebbles move as the towering form of Grumblock, a long-lived and massive orange-brown Doatan Jedi Knight, walks alongside Rey to join Sol's side.
Yes, so Grumblock is a Doatan, and if you're not familiar with what a Doatan is, they basically look like ogres. He stands about 11 feet tall and is approximately 11 feet wide, with a deep yellow skin and short protruding horns coming from his face. He is bald with white eyes, although he does have a little wispy white beard. In terms of his clothes, he's basically wearing, I guess, hiking gear is probably the best way to describe it. They're very simple utilitarian clothes, made of, leather and like khaki. And the only adornments are a small silver bracer on his left arm, a rope tied across his chest, and a long metal stick that hangs from his belt. The ship was comfortable enough. The cargo hold. I made do.
Well, that's what's important.
Scorch beeps for a moment before Rey looks to Sol and Grumblock. "So, where do we start?" "I had a vision, but this doesn't look like the place I saw, just it's the right planet."
Describe your vision further, little one. Perhaps there is a detail we can use to track this figure.
Well, and she kind of looks around and says, "It was dark, but And she puts her hands out into the rain, and as it hits her skin, she's like, it could have been overcast. It was inside a building, but there were holes. And she's looking around, like trying to scan the horizon for any details. Is there anything you two are seeing or doing?
Soul's gonna call R2 and just, Uncle, when we were coming in, did you notice any landmarks or ancient ruins or buildings while we were coming in that showed up on any sensors?
Okay. Yep, so he receives your comm message, and we will see. Yeah, it appears he did. So as he responds to you, you're able to more or less pick out that he saw a kind of collection of structured ruins a bit to the east of where you're at, heading a little bit down away from the landing platform and into a sort of valley-like area. From the little outcropping that you were standing on, you're not quite able to see into the area fully, but you do see what looks to be kind of half-standing structures that definitely have been either worn with age or with attempts to enter into them. You do also get a kind of a dark, unsettling feeling the longer you look at them, as if these ruins may have held more than just Old Republic relics.
Can I make a lore check to try and remember any particular 4C knowledge associated with Aphis?
Yeah, you may. Be a 2 difficulty 3 setback check, because it is pretty old. But you're also pretty old, so I'll give you a boost.
It's older than me.
Aethys is just outside of your memories of such. You do know that when she discussed the planet, you were able to use the Jedi archives to locate it on Ossus, but that they really didn't have any information on it. So you don't think the Jedi have been on this planet in decades, if not centuries. You too would also feel kind of the dark, almost foreboding presence, especially anytime you kind of feel yourself drifting toward the buildings or the kind of statues.
Soul's
I
just
lack
gonna,
knowledge of this place, little ones. We should be cautious.
well then, that leads even more discovery to educate the rest of the Jedi when we get back.
Indeed, let us search for knowledge.
After that, Soul comes. Uncle's like, Uncle, keep the ship in low power in case we have to get out of here, but can at least avoid any scans for now.
So after you get the affirmative from R2, you see Rey kind of roll her shoulders back to get her staff and rifle a little more better positioned, and then she moves toward you to follow your lead.
Is there already any worn pathways leading towards the ruins at all where we landed, or are we making our own?
Can make a survival check if you want.
Sure.
Would you like Rey's help?
Yes.
All right, she provides 3 ranks in survival. And it'll be a 1 difficulty 2 setback check. Between all the steam and rising smoke from it and the years of desert shifting, there's just, if there was a path, it's as broken as the landing pad you arrived on.
Well, we're going in blind. Everybody stay close and watch your step. We don't just need to drop in any crevasses here.
I shall simply leap out.
Well, pull me with you.
We aren't all that strong.
It is not just physical strength, little one. It is the strength of the Force.
With that, she just she smiles at Grumblock and then looks at Soul and whispers, "Good thing I have experience climbing."
Soul nods and starts to slowly walk forward, kind of feeling with his feet on the ground, making sure there's no like any holes filled with sand or anything that may give way.
Yeah. As you're walking, the only real shifts any of you are really feeling in the ground as you're moving are just kind of the dampness from the current rain. It's clearly not sand and dirt that gets rain too often, and the ground is still so warm that the rain is just generating this steam, because the rainwater is fairly mild, while the ground is very, very heated. This planet does have a twin sun setup, and so rain of any kind is just unusual, but given the sparse trees, you do imagine that there is just enough times like this to keep at least some vegetation alive. As you continue to approach the ruins, the feeling of unease would increase, and Grumblock, from your years of travel, you would recognize that this place is probably one with the dark side rather than the light.
You may feel a strong pull towards rash emotion. Clear your mind and focus on the task at hand.
And after that, Soul looks at Rey and is like, yes, even if we're in danger, don't reach out for a power that is there. Instead, think critically and rationally.
He just nods in attempted understanding. So as you reach a point where the rock canyon is clearly disintegrated and broken off, you see an area that's a fairly large ruin outstretched. Probably used to be a tomb-like temple, and now has fallen apart in ruin. And to your and a discernment, at least from this distance, any part of this area could be what Ray saw in her vision. Nothing, like, you see so many structure-like areas with holes in the ceiling that it could take you guys hours, possibly even days, to search this whole area.
Does any of this ring a bell?
And you just see her kind of looking out, and eventually she points to one area where part of the canyon extends over some of the ruins, keeping rain from getting in. I didn't see any rain in my vision. Perhaps it's in the part blocked.
And that's where we'll start.
So how do you intend to get down from this rock face? Pretty rough from in front of you. You're probably going to have to jump down or climb down. You might be able to try to slide down one of the sides.
What's the range band?
From here to the ground would be medium range.
Cool. I'm just going to jump straight down using my enhanced force jump.
Okay.
I'm going to find a steep area and slide down like I'm on a surfboard.
Grimlock will not jump straight down.
Well, it would just be a short fall is what you would be doing. Basically, you would go short distance and then you would follow the remainder. Catch yourself, you might not get hurt at all, to be honest. Do you want to try that, or are you going to stop yourself from jumping?
No, Grumblock is determined. Once he decides to do something, he will do it.
Okay. Let me get you the...
Already fitting in the soul.
Falling,
Even falling soul respects that.
Okay, so make an athletics check against 2 difficulty, and I'll give you a boost due to your descent being mostly controlled.
Mostly.
To be fair with Grumblock, the ground always seems farther away than what it is whenever he lands.
Okay. So that'll be that's 7 wounds and 6 strain minus your soak.
Okay.
Oh, not too bad, but you feel it a little. Okay.
This was a foolish endeavor. I suggest you learn from my mistakes.
Still didn't hear that as he's snowboarding down a steep slide.
So, what's Soul doing? As you said, the snowboarding, but like, how are you approaching it?
Yeah, he's looking for whatever is has an actual incline, and he's sort of using his armor to sort of crouch down to sort of shin slide, sort of as much control as possible to down it.
All right, so that'll be a coordination check, 2 difficulty and 2 setback.
Two threat.
Yep. So you'll take 2 strain from your move, and it'll take a little bit longer than Grimlock, but you will manage to pull it off. Yeah.
Count on all the friction.
And then Ray will get a bit more of a running start than you, but attempt to do the same thing, complete with coordination check. Learning from Grum's mistakes, as he said. So she manages to do it a little bit faster than Soul, but pretty much the same. You can tell it's all the years of desert dune surfing that she used to do.
Well, now that we got the fun out of the way, let's head to the deep dark cave that has a hideously scary person inside.
You do see, when you mention the man she saw, you do see her kind of get a little concerned. We should be careful. In the vision, I only felt a great strength.
If I have learnt anything through my years, it is that there is more to life than power.
Either way, we only understood the strength in the vision. Perhaps he is also understanding.
You see Ray look to Grumblong. But isn't strength needed to be greater?
You sound like me when I was but 100 years old, and did not know the truth and the responsibility. The
But it
greatest power is peace.
And Ray just looks at Soul. Hope it doesn't take us 100 years.
I see much promise in you. Perhaps maybe 50 years. Maybe 150 for me.
You see her just adjust the white glove around her cybernetic hand a few times, kind of trying to keep it covered from the rain before nodding and continuing forward.
Either way, Grumblock, I appreciate you being here with your knowledge and experience. It is very valuable.
Indeed, I am very valuable. It is good that you are so wise as to acknowledge this fact.
More that I've come to understand my faults more than wisdom.
We all fall. It is how we pick ourselves up that matters.
Something you are also experienced in, as he points at like the crater he picked himself up from.
I am learning to this very moment.
So as the group of you walk, by the way, Scorch just gently kind of slid down the hill behind you all. While he lacks R2's thrusters, he makes up for it by having a little more wheeled mobility that made it pretty simple. So, as the group of you continue down toward the ruins and our camera pulls backward, we pull back further and further until we are on a towering spire near the edge of the ruins. On the other side of them, we can just barely see the outlined forms of Sol, Grumblock, and Ray in the distance. And they're in fully a black cloak over silver and black armor, a red and silver helmet, clearly once broken, now reforged. Underneath the cloak is the figure that has become known to be called the Revenant. Standing close by to him is the long red-haired, tightly black-suited woman known to work with him, named Carrie. And as the two of them stand, the rain dampening their clothes. I see her. I see the girl. The vision was true. They are here. The armored voice of the Revenant speaks quietly but strongly out. To this, Carrie approaches. This has been our first chance in a long time. You sure about this? I have seen it. We need... stop them. She just nods and our camera fades out. As the screen shifts away from Aethys, we are suddenly shocked with a burst of color and the booming sound of drums and almost ethereal singing. A veil of beautifully crafted pink and red rose displays part into a sea of colors as we walk into a massive festival of towering pillars of stone covered by lights and vines with similar roses, speeder floats of magnificent floral works of art, and crowds of many species as vendors selling smaller versions of these lights and other such crafts are seen strewn about, large area on this world, the mid-rim planet of Rossoswai, we see a small group make their way into the throngs, enjoying the first days of the Floralight Festival, held every 10 years since the end of the war between Abeloth and the Jedi Queen. The Jedi Queen is known very strongly and holds a special place of honor to these people, even dubbed the title of Roseblade. This luscious planet of massive red floral forests, wide purple river valleys stretch out above. Every Floralight Festival since the war, the Roseblade has been honored, even after she disappeared. However, keeping with the tradition, the Hapen princesses Sidani Jo and Venata Solo, now newly discovered and publicly known to be daughters of the Jedi Queen, have been invited to honor their mother along with the people, bringing their Jedi friends, Talia Skywalker, Zura, and Castum with them. They are surrounded by near overwhelming perfumes of the noble guests and similarly strong natural scents of all the displays around them. Venata Solo, walking with confidence, exchanges a few silent hellos with the nobles she recognizes before spinning to the rest of the group with a slightly tempered but still very visible excitement. Dressed in a purple top with decorative gold lines leading from a plunging neckline into thick ribbed fabric tightly bound to her waist over a short purple skirt leading to knee-high white leatherous boots, her arms only covered by short white elbow-length sleeves connected to a single strap across her shoulder with a thin white half cape alongside. Her light brown hair styled and decorated with effort, a singular rose in it to help match the theme of the event, but mostly allowed to be long and free against the half cape and her mostly exposed back. Despite this gorgeous attire, she does also carry a belt with a decorated sword sheath, a reminder of her ever-increasing training to be somewhat of a fighter herself, at least to defend herself. By her side is her recently found twin sister Sidani, raised on the world of Dathomir unlike her sister's Hapen upbringing, but they both share the title of Hapen Princess all the same.
Sidani has a number of roses braided into her red hair, white roses in particular, I imagine. Her hair is, as mentioned, braided mostly in the front and a little bit more free, looser braids running down her back. She's been growing her hair out a little. The dress she's wearing is very ornate. It kind of shifts across the various seasons and its floral patterns. And she is looking on the festival with these wide, almost these wide eyes full of childish glee. In particular, I imagine she is focusing more on just the little details of the vendors. Like, oh, this is a great trinket over here. Have you tried the food here? And has been bouncing back and forth.
Amongst their Jedi friends, the only other human is Talia, the younger daughter of Ben Skywalker and sister to Sol. As the barrage of sights and sounds begin to be a bit clearer as more time is spent among the excited masses.
Yeah, Talia, I think, has a similar excitement as the other two, just to see this planet and just how beautiful it is, but over the last year, she's definitely fallen more into trying to be the proper Jedi. So even now, she wears nicely fitted Jedi robes, and her red hair is still braided back like her normal style, and at her side is her lightsaber. And all in all, she's letting the princesses have the moment and kind of just following behind Sid as they check out the vendors.
Then, likely overwhelmed slightly by all the scents, is the bug-like Melito Jedi Knight Castum.
Yeah, he's probably also going to be wearing just Jedi robes over his. To barely call it armor. just a his stealth bodysuit that he uses all the time. And yeah, as he said, bug. So sadly enough, not like a whole lot to describe because he doesn't have any hair to braid.
I mean, we can get you a wig.
Fair. But yeah, he's definitely kind of overwhelmed by the senses, as he doesn't sense things in the normal sense because he doesn't have eyes or ears necessarily. But yeah, I'm just imagining he's just trying to concentrate and keep outside distractions such as the many people around down to a minimum in his head, and just follows after the group.
And then lastly, trained in the wilds and woods like Sidani, the one bringing up the rear is the Togruta Zura, Jedi in training, her red skin and white striping blending slightly with the sea of red surrounding them.
Yeah, she's looking a little overwhelmed. It's probably trying to just stay out of people's way as she's brought along her energy bow with her, and just kind of weaving around people. I thought there would be less people, more competition.
I was hoping there'd be less people.
This is a festival, not an arena, you two. Oh, Casting,
What?
you have an excuse, but
What kind of competition were you expecting?
Oh, just races, archery contests. This is a little bigger than I've ever experienced.
Well, I do believe there are floral competitions, you hear Venata say, but she looks at Zura. If you'd like, I'll ask around.
Oh, well, I suppose I shouldn't make a fuss about it, but if you wouldn't mind, and if we have the time.
So, where's everyone starting? What's everyone looking at? The festival is huge. It's by one of the kind of purple rivers, giving it that kind of stark contrast between all the reds and whites that abound.
Is there any dancing going on?
Yes and no. There's plenty of people who are just moving along to the music of the festival, as mentioned when you arrive, kind of the singing and the drum sounds and all that. There's a very kind of strong like musical vibe kind moving throughout the people. So a lot of people are sort of dancing in place and moving around, but there is one pavilion a little bit beyond where the floats kind of move around, where you can see people dancing in the center of the pavilion, but also dancing in the air. You see a group of performers using lines and stuff to dance in the air and make a big kind of attraction in what's probably the centerpiece of the festival. So yeah, if you're looking for people dancing, that would be the place to go.
I think Sid is going to take that bait.
Okay.
Try to steal the show a little.
Right. Anyone else want to join her on going dancing?
You know what? Yeah. Sidoni's probably going to show me up, but I could try.
Well, Zora, here's your competition.
You know, that's all you needed to say.
Well, my credits still go to Sidoni.
Well, try not to make it easy on her then.
Banada just says, for the sake of competition, I'll stay out for now. Give a
The
little
second round challenger.
Yeah, she'll give a bit of a teasing look with that to Sidani before giving her kind of half a hug and clearly going off to kind of make those the once again make those noble connections. Kind of, oh hey, there are important people here. Should talk to a few of them. Kind of movements. Castum, are you just gonna try to stay near the others but not quite join in?
No, actually, he's probably going to try and stay near Banada because she's now all alone, and who knows?
All right. Do you want to stay? You'd be able to, if you'd want to stay like right close to her, you could, or do you want to keep your distance?
Technically, probably keep distance because he's better at stealthing than looking intimidating if he's supposed to look like a bodyguard, so...
Yeah. Okay. Then staying nearby, but not too close, as she goes and talks to people. All right. And yeah, you're the Zura, Talia, and Sidani head out into the central pavilion where people are dancing to the music and singing, and if people aren't dancing, they're probably looking up at all the sky dancers moving around and kind of running around. They're dressed in all different manners, connected by all different ways. You used to see some that are like connected by their arms, doing movements that way. There's a few different species. Most are humans. But you do see some other species, particularly the ones considered more attractive. Mostly women, but some men. Usually some of the men are performing the movements themselves, particularly kind of the thinner ones, the ones kind of... There are some that are dressed a bit more like the women, trying to do the same movements, while a couple of the men are also kind of at the very top of the pavilion structure, probably holding on lines or helping some of the dancers reset when they have to do certain movements. I'd say all in all, the pavilion's very large, as is the structure. I'd probably say there are a couple of dozen sky dancers above you, and at least the same amount of people around you, and even more out in the crowds beyond the floats that move around the pavilion. So, yeah. You are all dancing and moving about. Is there anything in particular you're all trying to do, dancing-wise? Are you trying to compete at all? Or are you just having fun?
Yeah, I think Sid is going to try to steal the show. She'll walk onto the platform like she owns it, and with her dress kind of moving between the different seasons, will kind of mimic that as she starts dancing.
How about Zura and Talia? Fun or competition?
Just for fun. I think seeing Sid stagger on the stage like that, she's just gonna be like, okay, maybe not gonna put my credits on myself winning.
Zura is definitely not going to go as far as Sidani is, but she will try to show her best down with the rest of the people.
Okay. All right, then, Sidani, make a 2 difficulty and a setback charm check to get things rolling to get people's attention. We'll
okay.
see if you can hold it.
As a maneuver, I will use intense focus, and as an incidental, I will use congenial to upgrade it a second time.
Okay. All right. Well, you definitely make an impact immediately between your dress and your looks, and the few people who are a bit higher up recognizing, oh, this is one of our special guests. Between all that, you are able to definitely catch the attention of most of the dancers, at least the ones that are near you when you come out. And you also catch the attention of even some of the sky dancers. So coordination check against the same difficulty. See if you can keep up.
All right. Once again, I'll use intense focus.
Definitely keeping up. Wow. So yeah, you're just lighting up the pavilion. Everyone is pretty much watching you at this point, and your movements are so in time with the music and the singing and the other dancers you get near that even the sky dancers, some of them have descended down a little closer to your area to help support your movement, as their movements are all based on improv anyway. It's able to match up fairly closely, creating a nice little scene. And I'd say she's doing well enough, Talia and Zura, that as long as you guys aren't trying to like get in her way, you probably are able to stay close to her as well.
And Zura's more interested in kind of like melding with what's already there.
Yeah, I think Talia will stay as close as she can. She's probably equally as charmed and slightly intimidated by Sidani in general, so she's just kind of watching.
Mm-hmm. So as we shift away for a moment from the dancing pavilion, we'll see as Venata is talking to people, Castum, and you're kind of watching over her. You see her turn to leave a conversation with an older nobleman, and basically runs straight into a man about 6 foot tall, long dark hair, wearing a black jacket and no shirt, relieving a fairly kind of muscular upper body into kind of a very dark reddish, clearly meant to match with the festival's red across the lower body. And there's a look of recognition immediately on both Venata's face and the face of the man. And Venata just questions, probably a little louder than she should, definitely loud enough for Castum to hear, as he wouldn't be able to see the face of this man, but clearly from Venata's face, you would recognize it, or from her voice, sorry, you would recognize it. Phoenix? And she seems a little, as mentioned, surprised, and he just gives her a smile and says, "Wow. You look great."
Worried that that'll probably mean trouble. Cass will probably get closer.
Yeah. And he kind of just puts a hand in his hair, kind of shaking it for a moment, and says, "I'm surprised to see you here. Is your friends here too?" And to that, she just kind of, Venata looks over at Castum and kind of beckons for Castum to get closer.
He will.
Yeah. And she kind of grabs him by the arm and sort of pulls him in toward Phoenix and herself, and says, yeah, we're here together. Jedi bodyguard, you know, ape and princess. What are you doing here? Are you, And she looks around at the pavilion and kind of gives him a questioning look. Performer? The man known as the Phoenix to Venata and Castum and the other members of the party is a part of a larger kind of underworld roguish group that the party has encountered a few times. They're not quite sure of their goals or what they've done, but they've been both allies and enemies to the party over time. And Phoenix and Venata have exchanged more than a few glances in the times that the party has met them. So he looks to Castum and kind of gives him a nod and pats him on the side of the arm and says, yeah. He kind of looks at Venata more seriously, look of like he's wishing he could be saying something different, but has to say this, and says, "So, Lux told me what happened on Socorro." And Venata's face goes from smile to frown as he refers to when the party met Lux Orphos and Cinder Fett, two of Phoenix's team members and friends, on the planet, and that was one of the instances where the party and this group were enemies. And unfortunately, were responsible for capturing Cinder and taking her to the Mandalorians who were after her, leaving Lux alone on the planet. And Venata kind of looks to Castum and says, we were just trying to do the right thing. And she looks at Castum and says, he wasn't even there. We and Phoenix kind of nods and looks to both of you and says, well, I have something to do, but... And he kind of says, see you both later. And he kind of brushes past, and Castum, you're left alone with Venato's. You just hear a loud sigh coming from her, and mostly a disappointed feeling.
Cass would probably put his hand on her shoulder, but also at the same time calm the group, letting them know that they just encountered Phoenix.
The group probably wouldn't be able to hear it over the dancing, so
it's at least attempted.
Yeah. Upon getting no response from the others, I think Venata would notice you did that and try to head over to the dancing area and at least get Talia and Zura's attention, since they're a bit further away than Sid, who she doesn't want to disturb right now.
Cass is definitely a little concerned as to why he's here, as most of the time whenever they've met, things weren't going well for anybody.
So Talia and Zura, do you go over to Venata and Castum?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So Venata would explain, that Phoenix is here.
Talia just kind of quickly looks up at the Sky Dancers, just seeing if she recognizes anybody up there.
Okay. I'd say perception check against
I just remembered.
against
no.
4 purple and 2 black.
Oh no, this isn't happening. Even if I remove those blacks, this isn't happening.
Never know, those purple could come up blank.
She's only rolling 1 yellow because her cunning isn't recovered yet.
I have 1 cunning.
Those purple can roll up blank. Nope, they didn't.
They rolled far from blank.
Okay, so Sidani, as you're dancing around, can you make a vigilance check for me against 4 red, a purple, and 2 black?
Yes, I can.
Or challenging difficulty and 2 setback.
Oof.
So
I am taken by the music.
take 1 strain from the surprise as one of the sky dancers swoops down low on their run and you are caught completely off guard as one of the ribbons on the dancer's arm catches around yours, and one of your arms in the air and wraps tightly, and you're just pulled straight up into the air amongst the sky dancers, kind of spinning and moving around as this sky dancer clearly has you kind of caught in the ribbon. You notice as you look to your arm where the ribbon was, the movement was so quick of her moving by and spinning it around you that it's actually tied in a, not that you could undo, but it actually managed to like kind of fasten itself to your arm pretty quickly. Whoever this person is, you are tied to them. And
Well played.
as you spin up into the air, the ribbon is slowly spun around your arm, basically further and further up your arm until it's kind of tight, like gets to your shoulder and tightens, and you are pulled straight into the face of the dancer. Beautiful young woman with blonde and brown mixed hair, the blonde shining almost like highlights in the light of the sky and the lights from the festival. A orange kind of one-piece swimsuit like dancer's outfit going from the shoulders tightly around the chest, exposing the waist down, stopping at the legs. Legs completely uncovered, arms only covered by a few pieces of like jewelry, like bracers and places for the ribbons to be attached to. And around the shoulders, just a bit of a necklace tied to, again, yet more ribbons, and off the sides of the shoulders of the outfit are more of the ribbons as well. The ribbons kind of having a silver quality. One of said ribbons, clearly from her arm, is the one tied around yours at the moment. And you just see a pair of raised eyebrows from the woman as another one of Phoenix's team members, named Safra, just gives you a smile. You're
Smiles
currently
back, and the dance must go on.
yeah. Currently, you are kind of spinning and flying through the air. The people on the ground all thought it was part of the show for you to get picked up like that, so no one's questioning or doing anything. A few are getting back to dancing since you're no longer sucking up all the oxygen down there. But she's still kind of spinning you, the two of you, around quietly, kind of moving you around toward one of the other areas of the pavilion, a little bit further away from where you had been. And she, now that she's pulled you in close, while one of your arms is still kind of caught up in the ribbon, she puts her arm around your waist and kind of continues to fly you to until there's one of the poles extending out from the pavilion that she's able to land the two of you on, and the ribbon around your arm loosens a little bit, just enough so that you're not like yanked or anything. But she stands delicately on the pole. As she comes to a stop, you need to make a 1 difficulty, 1 setback coordination check.
Okay.
Okay. As you reach the pole, you're able to get your feet under you and also kind of set them down on it. Your heels, your shoes kind of make it a little more difficult to stand straight and as her, but you do manage.
Safra, it's wonderful to see you here. I didn't even catch you. Well, you caught me. How have you been?
She... You see a conflicted face of emotions, similar to what Venata was seeing with Phoenix, as she kind of tilts her head to the side and says, I know you didn't have anything to do with Cinder. Hi. She kind of says quietly, you can tell when she says the name of Cinder that it probably still stinks for them.
Sid will give her arm a comforting kind of rub. I heard about that. I'm sorry.
We knew it could happen. We just didn't think it would be you. Or, well, not you. The Mandalorians. With you. And she kind of tightens the ribbon on your arm for a moment. You can tell she's trying to kind of snap back into her usual self, and kind of pulls you in close and says, so you missed me?
Yes. Oh, it's been, what, a year now? You're looking good.
Just good?
Well, and it kind of rubs the back of her neck a little. To be fair, until now, a lot of what I saw was partly a blur, so...
We have time to look. She's saying, because you're
Yeah.
like, you're dozens of feet in the air. Like, you're
Mhm.
way up above everything. So it's just
Yeah,
the two of you and the
so-
occasional sky dancer who has to land on or leap from the pole.
Yeah, so Sid just blushes heavily at that. And I think, yeah, she does kind of make a display of looking / examining the person in front of her. So
Yeah,
what
Saffra
brings you
has
to
fun with that.
So what brings you to Rasai, besides the wonderful dances?
It's a job. You know, not everything we do is big and traumatic.
Oh, so it's not just you here then?
Yeah, Phoenix is here. We performed together. You know that.
I'm sure some of my party will be happy to hear that.
And she gives you a bit of a pout and says, he missed Venata too.
Oh, man. Well, before he gets here, do you think we could continue our performance. She says, kind of gesturing back at the dance floor. Did you have something else in mind?
Oh, I'd have many things in mind if I weren't supposed to be here for a while longer. You look stunning, but I should return you down before anybody misses you.
But then you would miss me.
I didn't say I'd go back up right away. And with that, she'll yank you by your still ribbon-covered arm and pull you off of the pole, very concertedly kind of dancing around you as you're swung back down to roughly the place she took you from. And however, you see her disconnect the line that was holding her and let it kind of rise back up into the air.
When she does that, Sid is going to try to grab the other ribbon and wrap it around her arm. Saphra's arm.
Mm-hmm. Thinking about how
So-
that would work functionally. Doable. Okay. And all right then, make a coordination check against 3 difficulty.
All right, I will use intense focus.
While you guys wouldn't have seen Sidani get taken up into the air, you will see the 2 of them land rather spectacularly. So Talia's Castum Zura, you would see the 2 of them land, and Sid wrap one of Saphra's ribbons around her arm, and the 2 begin dancing and moving together as if it were intended.
Unsure
Sid,
of. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
even as you kind of do the same wrapping on Saphra, you got the feeling she's got more of a control over it than you.
All right, so she's going to lead in the dance. Still in the show, though.
Sarah's just gonna look at everyone else. I thought I heard a hint of worry when you were explaining about these people being here. Doesn't look very worrisome.
We don't know why they're here. They've been both foe and friend to us, and the last time, we were not friends, and... well, they probably want me more than her.
It doesn't look that way. No offense.
Still doesn't make me less worried. Venata, what do you want to do about this?
Watching the dancing, Venata just says, fan myself, to be honest. And before looking out, there's area kind of away from the dance pavilion, and says, let's give them some room. I'm not very worried about that.
Zura will just kind of shrug and follow Venata. Do they have any candied fruit at least?
Oh yeah, this way. He leads you towards some of the stalls.
Guess Talia's gonna follow and just trust Sid can handle herself.
Kessa's
Okay.
probably gonna be like, I'm gonna stay close by just in case.
You just when you say
And then
that,
he'll
you hear,
stealth into the crowd.
yeah, I was gonna say when you say that, Venata would say, "Be more subtle."
As she looks at him, and then somebody passes by, and he just disappears.
Yeah, let's see if you can do that. 3 red stealth. You're not rolling against Venata because she's leaving.
What? What?
What?
What?
Okay.
So
What?
Sid dances and around and manages to pick up one of them and brings him onto the stage. I have no idea.
What?
Well, you disappear into the crowd.
Yeah, I think I disappear from existence.
I
You're on
think
the giant, he's on the giant kiss cam on the big screen.
I think as you're taken into the crowd, you find as part of being safe in the crowd, you unfortunately find yourself stuck between some people with such heavy perfume that you have difficulty concentrating on just about anything around you. So you're successfully hidden from anyone who's trying to look for you, but you also would have a very hard time doing much of anything until you're away from these people.
Oh, yay.
So
I almost want to re-roll that. Oh shit, wait, never mind. I don't have the re-roll for stealth. Damn it, never mind.
Right.
I have the re-roll for mechanics.
So I'd say with the advantages though, Sidani, you would feel very safe in knowing that you feel very confident that Custom's around, and if you need him, you could probably get his attention.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So yeah, so as Venata takes Zura to get some food, Talia, you would see kind of an outdoor art exhibition where tons of organic and other kinds of artwork, like floral and other types of artworks, are on display and being out and handled.
Yeah, I think while they're off doing that, Talia would gladly go explore and keep out of eyesight of Saphra at all costs.
Yeah, this would take you far away from the dancing pavilion. It's basically on the other side of the the vendors where Zura and Venata are, compared to the pavilion. So they'll be in between you and that.
Perfect. Definitely not running away, just enjoying the fine arts of this exhibit.
Of course. As you are enjoying this outdoor exhibition, you see a older, clearly Rossasuian woman from the way her dress is, speaking to a man who appears to be in his, what you would guess would be his mid-30s, probably early to mid-30s, who is very clearly more interested in the art on display than the woman trying to speak with him. But You see him say a few things to her. She responds back and then goes on his way. She appears to be around the same age as him, maybe a little older, and you have a feeling she was trying to be more flirtatious and he was uninterested. But as you get closer, you would notice that the art he's looking at appears to depict the Jedi Queen, Allana, in some form or of combat pose of some kind, and her lightsaber is made of little rose petals, kind of lingering back toward the name of her to these people. And it seems to be a nice little battlefield around it. And yeah, do you take a closer look?
Yeah, I think she'll definitely approach and kind of give the man a polite nod. This one's a interesting piece.
And you see he has sort of lighter skin and clearly human in appearance. He's wearing a bit of kind of, like, I'd say the closest Star Wars equivalent to sunglasses, kind of these shaded, sort of like a silver line shade over his face that's attached to the side of an earpiece, more or less. And you see him looking the artwork. He has kind of darker hair slicked back. His clothes are mostly kind of this lightish blue in color, very kind of noble, though you almost get military qualities from it, but it's very, very much a noble attire. You have a feeling it might be like officers' clothing without any of the kind of insignias or such that would be found on one normally. And
Gotcha.
and he has gloved hands, and in his kind of in the chest of his suit you see a singular white rose. And without even, like, as you nodded to him, he doesn't really look at you, and even as you speak out, you can tell he's listening to what you said, but he's very clearly studying the piece. And says, yes, the significance cannot be denied. It's a clear artistic intent to show the Jedi Queen, the Roseblade, as they call her, as this dramatic, heroic figure. No, you see him put one of his gloved hands out toward it, not getting close enough to touch, when he clearly seems to respect it enough to not attempt to disturb it, but kind of pointing out to you. But the way she holds the blade, I'm not sure it's based on record or the artist's intent, but she is clearly haunted by something she's done or seen. For such a beautiful piece, it brings a certain solemn tone to it all.
I'm so sorry. I needed a second not to laugh at this art critic. She'll kind of obviously listen very respectfully and look over the piece as he's describing it in the way that he sees it and kind of considers it for a moment longer. Well, one can never be sure of an artist's intent, but as far as the Jedi go, we don't often take glory in battle, no matter the cause or the purpose that we're fighting for. It wouldn't be surprising to me if you were right that it is respect being shown, sort of an understanding of her duties.
At the point you said we, he seems to look at you to study you.
She just kind of looks at him and lets him, just kind of like, mm-hmm.
Curious.
Which part?
Your presence.
Well, I could say I have similar curiosities about you.
He looks at the piece for a moment and says, "The blossoms are a sight to behold. You, on the other hand, are an intricacy that adds extra to this event." Tell me,
Wow. Go ahead.
would
sorry.
you say you get your hair from your father or your grandmother?
And she pauses at that question. Well,
I suppose
my
you never met your
grandmother.
grandmother, did you? So how would you know?
And how would you know about me in such detail?
I've seen those eyes before. Skywalkers are hard to forget.
Have we met before?
Us? No. I've met your family, though.
Well, then perhaps you could grace me with your name so we can be on the same page.
Afraid I haven't heard yours yet. Recognizing one's heritage is hardly first name basis.
Hmm. God, my cunning sucks. Otherwise, I'd try and see what I could find out about him. She'll just kind of, she's obviously a little bit more wary, but she'll just kind of relent and... My name is Talia. Now, what's yours?
Gideon.
Just Gideon?
Are you just Talia?
Well, you already know I'm a Skywalker.
And he points at the sculpture. So is she.
Well, you asked my name. I'm not sure how much more I could give.
Oh, I'm afraid you're too young for that.
Well, Gideon, what interest do you have in my lineage and the artworks of the Jedi Queen?
Please trust me when I say I have much more interest in these artworks than your lineage. He did the impossible. United this galaxy. And they kept the unity even after she was gone.
And you have less faith than us now? That we cannot keep the same unity that she achieved for us?
I don't believe I said anything of the sort.
Well, you must forgive me if I find myself rather perplexed by, well, you. I don't know you. And you're rather observant, to say the least, but I don't know what your intent is.
Projecting your insecurities and paranoia onto strangers could get you in trouble at some point, young Jedi.
So what of these other artworks, then? Do you have similar opinions?
I was drawn to this piece because it is the only one that shows any emotion other than... well, it shows any emotion. Most of these others are quite basic or a different form of art. I'm much more interested in the ones that show culture or... You see him kind of walk around it so you can get a glance at some of the others while he's speaking to sort of make his point, but keeps on it.
Well, Gideon, since you know so much about my lineage, perhaps you'd indulge me. You're dressed like an officer, at least adjacent. What do you do for work?
Military family.
That's it?
Still use their tailor.
But you're not connected to them any further?
I don't get out much.
And who is this military family of yours, anyway?
No longer active, I'm afraid. So I suppose. So I suppose that is your fault after all. Well, not yours.
What do you mean? Actually, could I... Is it possible for me to discern what he's talking about? Like an education check or anything I can kind of glean off of him?
No, I think he's being a little too nondescript.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about.
If you... I will indulge you for one moment, and only a moment more.
By all
The
means.
name of my... Well, those responsible for bringing me here, I can't say I hold much connection to them, but the ones responsible for my existence is... Allana. Might
Allana?
mean something to your family.
You're right. It would.
But let me assure you, we share no blood.
Trust me, I can understand wanting to sever family ties.
Do you?
In some ways, yes. The Skywalkers have reputations, as I'm sure you know. I'm sure whatever reasons you have, well, they make sense to you.
Insecure, paranoid, and burdened. I wish you the best, young Talia, in finding yourself.
It is difficult to thank one for pointing out all my faults on a silver platter just so easily, but thank you. I'll keep it in mind. And it was a pleasure to meet you.
See him begin to walk away.
And Talia just kind of slowly looks back at the painting of the Jedi Queen for a few moments
That's
before
a sculpture, but yeah.
sculpture. Before she'll probably eventually walk away as well to go find the group again.
Okay. So with that, we fade back away from the sculptures and beauty of Rossaswai to the rain and scattered steam on dusty rock of Aethys. As Soul, Grumblock, Ray, and Scorch begin to cross what verily constructs a entranceway into the first of these buildings. The rain can still be heard close by, but the covering of the canyon rock above leaves this place less disturbed. However, as you're moving, it does seem like, well, that it was disturbed. A lot of what should be dust and rocks have seemed to be kicked aside or moved aside and slid across. An opening not too far away looks like rocks were moved and thrown.
Either our guest of honor is here or some relic hunters came through.
I do hope it's relic hunters. Perhaps we can exchange information.
Soul sort of gets closer and crosses his fingers like, here's hoping.
Yeah. As you approach the rock removed opening, which is large enough for Grumblock, but only just barely. You'll have to duck a little. You
I am
hear
used to that.
you hear shouting of a youthful man, probably in his 20s, late 20s. Hey, I don't want trouble. I was just look, I was just looking around for anything valuable. Don't ooh, those are That's all you can hear from your point as you approach this opening.
He's not talking to us, is he? He's talking to
No.
someone else in the room.
Yes. You can't even see him yet.
Soul's gonna quick draw his lightsaber, and he's not gonna rush in, but he's making it aware, like everyone aware that he's going in further.
Okay. Is the lightsaber on or off?
No, it's off. He's just getting it in
Okay.
front of him because we're going in an opening, so he wants to make sure if there's any corners that he's not surprised by anything.
Seeing you do
Grumblock
that,
looks disapprovingly at Sol.
seeing Soul do that, Ray will also grab her hilt and follow behind.
What have the Jedi come?
As you enter in to the room through the opening, you see a lot of areas that honestly look already ransacked. So there's rocks tipped over. If it hasn't already been destroyed by just time, other people have clearly gotten here first. But still, you see a man in a mixture of tan, black, and blue kind of clothes, clearly more of the outdoor, almost adventurer style clothes. You see a bunch of like little bits of gear all over him, and doesn't look too heavily armored or armed. You can see a pistol and not much else. More noteworthy, you see what looks to be kind of a modified probe droid, also sand in color with kind of green lights floating near him, kind of behind him. Even though it's about his size, it seems to be considering him like it's almost scared, like it's kind of behind him. And more importantly, closer to you than him, but still kind of about halfway between you and them, kind of spread out across the room, you see several stormtrooper-like figures, but rather than the whites and blues you have associated with the stormtroopers, these it looks like if these were once stormtrooper armors, they were repainted. To have this kind of, they still have the white, but there's these kind of black markings and stripings, and just on the helmets you see several like red slashes, as if they're meant to be able to be noticed very quickly in battle. And they all look as well armed and well suited to their armors as stormtroopers, and upon the noise of you all entering in, they all begin kind of turning and moving, and you hear one who has a few more extra markings shout out, "Halt!"
Soul sort of casually starts talking to the guy that we heard, like, "Oh, it seems you've found some other guests here, weary traveler." And he's still kind of he slows down a little bit, but he's still sort of walking towards that man.
The stormtrooper officer.
No, towards
I'm
the
saying,
direct.
I know what you're saying. I'm saying the stormtrooper officer repeats what he said of halt.
This is a tense situation. Why doesn't everybody lower their weapons now? Grublock is attempting to challenge the officer, basically, for control of the situation.
All right.
I can do whatever check you think is more appropriate, coercion or leadership.
Think leadership, given you're not appealing violently.
Okay. I
So
will use intense focus.
you'll be going up against be 2 red and a purple and a black. No one shall disturb Master Vane. Is all you hear from the officer before they begin to get ready to fire. So initiative, everybody. Let's get them vigilance checks in.
Okay. As an incidental, I'd like to raise my portable shield from the bracelet on my arm.
Okay. We're also going to get a maneuver.
I will draw the lightsaber and activate.
Okay. Let's see what Ray gets here. Okay.
Headstrong, rushing into battle youth.
You beat Soul. Right, that's the guy trying not to get shot. And stormtroopers. So there are oh, and we need Scorch. Right? So there are 5 stormtroopers plus the officer. Somehow with worse dice, the NPCs are really doing well with the initiative. Right, okay, so the officer... Okay. PC's looking at the bottom of the order currently. And the squad. Yep. Okay. So, just to go through everyone's motions, I suppose. Rey is going to activate her lightsaber and leap forward at the first stormtrooper she sees. Okay. So she will successfully get over to one. Slash out with her saber. Spin and basically slash one across the chest, spin, hit, knock another one down, doing kind of a sweeping slash across and kind of striking out a third, but not taking it out. The scared scavenger-looking dude will move with his droid toward the corner of the room, just trying to get out of the way of everything that's about to go down. And Scorch will try to follow behind Rey as all the fighting's going on, and you see him activate a flame projector out and fire at stormtroopers near Rey. He will activate failure blast, which still won't do all that much, but okay. So yeah, he's kind of shooting flames out at the stormtrooper that Rey is currently near. All right. The remaining squad will shoot at Rey. But they will upgrade the attack on the officer, who will shoot at Grumblock for all the talking.
Okay. I have 3 defense.
Okay. Upgrades on the check.
No.
Okay. That'll be... Woo! It'll be 14.
Okay. I will reflect to reduce that by 4.
I'd say with the threat, you can get a free maneuver as well.
Yes, I would like to put myself in between the enemies and the scavenger.
Okay. Yeah, you're also going to be going next, so it's basically just a free maneuver on your, in addition to your normal turn.
How many stormtroopers are still up?
The officer plus 3, although one is probably just barely hanging on.
I would like to yank all the blasters out of the stormtroopers' hand.
Okay. So that's 4. That's going to be 4 objects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll give it a go.
All right, yeah.
No roll, just the force?
Just the force, yep.
Cool.
Man.
I'll yank one blaster.
Okay. We'll say you effectively you'll take the blaster away from the dude that was already hurting, so we'll say one of the stormtroopers is just taken out of the fight. You yank it away from him and he just kind of stumbles backward and over a few rocks and kind of falls into a half like crevice like thing and gets stuck.
I'll say, cease this fighting, everyone.
Soul.
Yeah, Soul's gonna look at the officer and be like, "For your men, this is your last chance. We could end this peacefully. We didn't come here for a fight."
All as Master Vane wills. And he just keeps firing in the direction of Soul and Grumlock.
Okay. Soul's gonna engage the officer then.
Okay.
So what's his defenses?
Adversary 1, no defense.
So first off, that'll be 11 breach 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to use both advantages to destroy his blaster.
Okay.
And the Triumph to knock him down and just point the saber at him and be like, "Stop this right now."
All right. Yeah, so you just slash up through his blaster, right? You just, as it comes apart in his hands, it's just like, what? As you, shout. So for, I know you're using Sunder, Sunder is normally 2 advantages per hit. Do you do any?
And I get double. It does double the amount of the steps per advantage.
Yeah. Well,
Every advantage increases by 1 step.
yeah, but you're starting with the base, is what I'm saying. Not 1, it's 2 for Sunder, unless you have something reducing it to 1. I'm cool with it being like the Triumph Plus, but
If I'm remembering right, Sunder is
yeah,
one
it's one
advantage per step.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, it's not.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's one of the only qualities that's not 2 to activate. It's 1 per step.
oh, my bad. Sorry about that. Got a lot in front of me here.
No worries, we don't use it too often. So
Yeah, it's been a minute. Okay.
Yeah,
yep,
imagine
so then
using
2.
like advantage to Sunder instead of crit and kill someone. Crazy,
Yeah,
right?
amazing. No, you're right. Sorry, as you said, it's been a while.
So I'm basically doing 4 advantages of Sunder instead of 2.
Right. Yeah, I was just trying to, for both myself and the audience, because you're using a talent to increase how Sunder works as well, correct? So it's 2 steps per instead of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Per ability, yeah. Okay, cool. Then yep. So slash up through the rifle, knock him down. Point the saber at him. Okay. We get to top the order. Ray will do another attack. Okay, so she's gonna swing around and slash out and take down the 2 remaining troopers. Leaving you the room quiet outside of like the sound of your sabers and The man at the feet. Also, to describe for everyone, Rey's saber is kind of the classic Star Wars blue. What are the colors of Soul and Grum's
Oh, yeah.
sabers?
Soul's is green. It also is crackling louder because his crystal's really strong, and also it's overcharged. So it was a loud thundering crack when he turned it on instead of the normal hum.
And Grumblock's saber.
Grimblocks, I mean, I don't. What kind of blade does the Kimberstone produce? Because it doesn't like crackle and.
I'd say
It's not like
probably
a traditional lightsaber, is it?
I'd probably say it's sort of my opinion would be a whitish, like a blue, but that's almost white blue and very kind of soft, almost ghostly looking, I'd say. Yeah.
It
That's
will
always
also
what I
be.
imagine.
It will be a very long and wide blade though, because it's it's built for his size. So
Right. Okay. Then yeah, so with that done, you're left with the officer in front of you. The other troopers down or stuck. Otherwise just unable to act. Soul, Grimlock.
Soul's just going to look at the officer and just tell him, like, we are allowing you to leave. And point at the way they came in.
if you will not surrender, I shall be forced to hit you with my lightsaber, and then you shall know unconsciousness.
You see the officer like start to scramble for the gun that Grimlock pulled away from the other guy.
Well, then I will hit him with my lightsaber.
Okay, adversary 1.
You get a
Let's
boost
take
because
an intense focus maneuver.
was he able to stand up, or is that just way, like, narratively? Because I think prone, you get a boost.
He's on the ground trying to go to the weapon on the ground, like he's trying to scamper toward it. Yeah, he's not getting up.
Oh, Grumblock gets a boost for him being on the ground.
Yeah, go ahead and add the boost. Alrighty.
I actually have 3. I forgot I have an advantage from my superior hilt. So I think in the end that would become. Let's use the white pip. I can only use the white pip to make a success. So that is 14 stun damage. And then I will activate the stun effect from the pommel hilt and deal another 2 stun damage.
Flash and bonk. And the guy is out. Just as his hand was about to grab for the blaster, you just slash down and there's a little crackle from it hitting him of the like stun to his body, and he kind of jolts a little and then he's out.
They always have to learn the hard way.
Rey just kind of spins around with her saber a little bit, making sure there's no other troopers or anything around. And you hear a little cheer from behind you from the guy.
Yeah, Soul would turn his lightsaber off and be like, "Ah, sir, are you okay?"
Yeah, nah, scratch. Thanks.
Are you some kind of relic hunter in search of knowledge?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Knowledge of credits, more likely.
And he kind of looks to Soul with a, so, you know.
So
I-
return. Tell me everything you know of this structure.
And he, to Soul, he says, I study some things and sell what I need to get by.
No judgment here.
Cool. And then as he turns to Grumblock, and his neck just, you know, leans back as he's trying to look up to see him in the faces. I just heard that there might still be some things here. Some people are scared of this place. It's a little too mysterious for them, I guess. And Lucky and I thought we'd give it a look.
Seeing the next train, Grumblock will sit down with a thump, so he's now, you know, head to head level with everyone. I'll say, the droid is Lucky. What a curious name.
Well, it's lucky to be alive. I'm lucky to have it. You know, it's just came with the territory. As Rey turns off her saber and gets closer to you all, he kind of looks at her, gives her kind of a raised eyebrow and a kind of interested look before turning back to Soul and saying, so who do I have to thank for this?
The Force. The Force brought us all here.
Oh nice.
I detect a hint of sarcasm, stranger.
Well, I think the Force brought them here too. Is he pointing out at the troopers?
Yes.
They're not like any troops I've seen.
They
Granted,
mentioned there were... Oh, go.
Granted, I haven't been to the Empire in 2 years.
They mentioned they were serving someone. Have you seen him?
Hadn't said his name until you showed up.
Does the name Master Vane? It was Master Vane, wasn't it?
Yes.
Does it ring a bell at all?
Can't say so. You see Rey just kind of tilting her head like, might be the guy. I'm not sure.
This one's name is Grumblock, stranger. Tell me yours.
Daran Silvar. Nice to meet you, Grumblock. And
Soul would step forward and give like a bow, like, I am Soul Skywalker. It is a pleasure.
then he kind of gives like a half bow back, not really sure what to do. Pleasure. And Rey just says, Rey. He kind of gives her a smile and a nod and says, I can show you where that guy, their guy may have gone, but that's the most I could do. I got it. He pats the blaster aside. He's like, this ain't gonna help against. And he kind of points at your hilts. Those.
Just point us in the right direction, and then you can head to safety.
Yeah.
Daran, you and the lucky droid are part of the weave of our destiny now. You must show us to the location of the armored man and his gauntlet.
Behind Grumlock, he's gonna look. Soul looks at Darren and is like, sort of, does like a miming, like his fingers, like, and then you can walk away. Like,
He nods and just kind of begins to run toward another one of the openings in the crumbling walls, and motions for everyone to follow behind. His droid kind of hang back closer to you all, sort of slowly taking its time. All right then, this way. And that's where we will stop for now. We'll see you soon with more action from Galaxy Far, Far Away.